All right, should you be spitting your Gatorade out to increase your performance? Talk about carb rinsing today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm Jerred Moon, and let's dive right into it. If you have read the book Jerred by Alex Hutchinson, or if you haven't, I highly recommend you read it. If you have, you've heard of what I'm talking about. This was the first time I had heard of it. It's called carb rinsing, and it's essentially where you do exactly what I said at the beginning of the podcast. You put some Gatorade in your mouth, you swish it around, and then you spit it out. Pretty crazy. But I want to talk about why you might want to do this, how you could experiment with it, and if it's even effective. So I'll go ahead and give you spoiler alert. It is effective, and there is science that backs it up. And you can look up that science if you want to, but obviously Alex wrote about it in his book. He's a very well-respected journalist. The science is out there. Only more science has come out about it. It is an effective strategy to increase your performance. And so that, I'm just going to say right off the bat, it is a good strategy. Now, should you utilize it and where might it be useful? That's what I want to talk about. Because I don't necessarily think the garage gym athlete out there should be taking a Gatorade to their workout every day, swishing it around and spitting it out on a daily basis, thinking that they're going to get some sort of performance benefit. In all honesty, my opinion of that is if you were to do this more frequently, your brain would learn that you're basically trying to trick it and it wouldn't work that well anymore. But that's my own personal theory. So again, let's talk about it real quick, what a carb rinsing, protocol is, and then kind of why it works. First, you can use any kind of sports drink, Gatorade, Powerade, anything that has a carb-rich solution. You want it to contain about 6 to 8% carbohydrate concentration, which is the standard for most sports drinks. You could also mix your own glucose-based carb powder if you wanted to, and you would do about 6 to 8 grams of that per 100 milliliters of water. And then you are going to rinse. So you're going to swish around. It's only about 1 to 2 ounces. So think about a shot. If you have like a shot glass of the carbohydrate solution in your mouth, you're going to swish it around. And you'll do this about every 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes for the first 30 to 60 minutes of exercise. Or if you're only working out for 60 minutes, then you would do it about every 10 minutes or so. And it's for shorter, high intensity stuff. If like you're, obviously like some workouts you don't want to stop, then you would want to do it right before you started. And then if you did have like a time maybe in the middle, if there was like one point in time where like you were going to rest really fast, just grab it real quick, swish it around, spit it out. So you're going to want to swish it around in your mouth for about 5 to 10 seconds is another question. Like people are like, how long do I swish it around? 5 to 10 seconds. You want to ensure that your mouth's carbohydrates receptors are activated. And then you want to spit it out. So after that 5 to 10 seconds of swishing it around, you spit out the solution. Do not swallow it, because the key here is that you're trying to activate receptors without consuming the carbohydrates. And you can repeat this every 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the duration of your workout, for up to 60 minutes. So about 3 to 4 rinses. And that's about it. Now, the reason this works is kind of crazy to me. Like I said, we're tricking the brain. That's essentially what we're doing. So you hit the oral receptors. So when carbohydrates like Gatorade are swished around in your mouth, there are these specialized receptors that detect their presence, and like even if you don't swallow it, you have these oral receptors that pick up on the fact that you have a sugary drink in your mouth. Then there's a neurological response. So the receptors send the signals to the brain, particularly the regions involved in motor control and reward, and the brain interprets these signals as a cue that more energy is incoming. It's on the way, even though none is actually absorbed in the bloodstream. And then you have the psychological perception of effort. So after this neurological response, the brain reduces the perception of fatigue and perceived exertion. This means athletes feel like they can maintain their pace or power with less effort. And that's a very real thing. Then we move on to motor output. The reduced perception of effort allows for a temporary increase in motor output, meaning athletes can push harder or sustain higher levels of performance than they otherwise would. And then also motivation and focus. Some studies suggest that carb rinsing may increase motivation and focus during high intensity efforts as the brain's reward centers respond positively to the presence of carbs. So we are, in all honesty, forcing the placebo effect on our brains, but through some actual, mechanical processes, neurological processes. That's what we're doing here. And if you know the placebo effect, it's a very real thing. Like people have cured disease and they both ways cause disease and cure disease with the placebo effect. So what's happening is you're getting your brain engaged, but in this case, you are actually ingesting something. Your body starts to go through this fast acting, sugar's coming. And then it signals this cascade of things. And then that forces your body to perform better. And like I said, my opinion is if you did this all the time, since we are kind of tricking our body into doing something, I think your body would learn. I think all of that, the oral receptors, the neurological process, the perception of effort, I think all of that would start to fade if you overuse this. Again, I'm not coming from a scientific standpoint here. It's just true of anything. Have caffeine once, it's awesome. Have caffeine every day for your life, no, not so awesome anymore. That's just kind of how the body works and the brain works. It gets used to things, it grows accustomed to them, and then it's not as effective. So when you actually utilize this strategy, first off, don't overuse it. Now, next, getting into when you'd actually want to use it. First is a short, high-intensity workout. If you want to either just test this out, you want to do a short, high-intensity workout, maybe you have some data, you want to see if you're better or worse, try it out there. Also, some people like to fast in the morning, but they have trouble having the higher output in their workouts in the morning, but they maybe want to maintain fasting, or they don't want to eat something, or they don't want to drink a Gatorade. So that might be like when you're just not feeling it. Again, it's not, to me, this is not an everyday thing, but if you're like, man, I'm just really not feeling it today, you wake up in the morning, you want to keep your fast, but you also want to hit the workout and you want like more performance that day, I think that's, in all honesty, for a garage gym athlete, maybe the perfect time to experiment with carbohydrate rinsing. Next, you can, I'm trying to think of like the other ideal situation is if your stomach is messed up. So this might be in a longer event. This could be an endurance event or something like that. Maybe it's a 5K for you. Maybe that's a half marathon, a marathon, an ultra marathon, whatever it is. A lot of these events, or even a longer Spartan race, if you're ingesting a bunch of different things, sometimes you can start to have GI distress, right? Or maybe your stomach's just not feeling right from the exercise itself. Well, the last thing that you want to do is pile on more crap into your digestive tract, no pun intended, when you have all of that stuff going on. You have some GI distress. So one way to kind of trick your body for like the last effort here, maybe you have 30 minutes left of a race or 60 minutes. Another great time to maybe try some carbohydrate rinsing. Do the rinsing strategy, swish it around 5 to 10 seconds, spit it out, and see if you can get enough of a kick to finish the race really strong. And then lastly, just talking about races, you could also try it at the very beginning of the race to try and eliminate some of that GI distress later on if you know that happens to you. So it's like same strategy, but in reverse. You're like, hey, this is a long race. This is a 2-hour race, 3-hour race. I'm going to just try basically carbohydrate rinsing for the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just because I don't want to put too much in my system too soon. I'm going to see if I can get some performance benefits there. Then I'll start ingesting actual carbohydrates. So those are about all the use cases you'd have for carbohydrate rinsing. We've definitely talked about this on the podcast before, but I wanted to have a very concrete episode I could point people towards that was quick. Here's how you do it. Here's how it works, all that kind of stuff. And if you want to look up any of the science of this, you want to see any other resources we have, go to garagegymathlete.com, check out the blog where we have our show notes. And if you are not an athlete of ours, go to garagegymathlete.com, sign up for a free trial. We would love to have you. But that's it for this one. Remember, if you don't kill comfort, comfort will kill you.